Well guys, Phase 1 for SnowRunner has a official release date, and I have a bunch of new info on everything that's going to be coming, and yes, it is coming to both PC and consoles, so make sure you watch the full video so you guys get all the information. So let me just go ahead and get one of the big things out of the way right off the bat, the release date. Now, the release date for Phase 1 is going to be July 15th, which is, interestingly, the exact same day that MudRunner Mobile is releasing on iOS and Android. Now, one of the first things that I want to talk about with this update is, again, the fact that they have said this is all completely 100% official, and it is that on July 15th, to all Season Pass and Premium Edition owners, Phase 1 Search and Recover is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And interestingly, the map that we played on the public test server is not the only map that's going to be coming in Phase 1. There are two parts of Phase 1 Search and Recover. There's the map that we're playing right now, which is the lake map on the Kola Peninsula region. There's also another map that I talked about recently in a video of mine. Now, one of the interesting things about this is the fact that, again, you will be searching for a lost World War II era bomber plane, which is completely and totally different than anything I've ever seen before. They also say here that new features will be coming in Phase 1, such as more skins, and other features such as interior customization and more. Now, we saw nothing about that on the public test server, and that is like kind of a weird left field thing that I did not expect to see actually coming right now, but I'm really curious to see what kind of features they offer us in terms of interior customization. And I don't know how much time I'm going to be spending with interior customization, but for the people that prefer to play in cockpit cam, it's definitely going to be something they'll be excited about. Now, let's dig into this bomber plane recovery mission a little bit more. Now, as you can see right there, it seems as though the trailer that you're using to pull it could be a trailer that's literally specifically dedicated to that mission itself. And I'm pretty sure that this is probably going to end up being a finale mission of sorts, and I'm not sure where it falls in, where it falls in the order of missions that you do throughout this particular season. But I definitely think that it seems like it would be some sort of like finale mission or big finisher mission or something along the lines of, okay, you've done everything else and now you get to do this big, crazy mega haul. And I'm not sure exactly what the story is behind this plane or why you're recovering it or why you're bringing it back. I'm sure they'll have some sort of story behind it, but this game is a lot more objective-driven than story-driven anyway, so even if there was no story attached to this plane, I would want to recover it anyway, because then you'd get to, you'd get the satisfaction of hauling the thing through the wilderness and through the snow. Now, and also, make no mistake, I will be doing Let's Play episodes throughout Season 1, so you guys can see not only my experience of going through these missions, but also maybe get some, some tips and heads-ups of your own. Of course, with this update, the TUZ-16 Action and the Ford F-750 will also be coming to consoles, as well as the base PC version of the game. Now, there's an interesting shot that they shared that I really want to touch on, and that's this shot here, because I sort of recognize the background. I kind of recognize some of the landmarks, but what's interesting is the ice is melted and the truck is driving along rocks instead of ice. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. Maybe this is on that Africanda map and not the lake map. And maybe the scenery just looks really similar, and that's just kind of how it came out. But it's almost like you're having to do vehicular parkour with the F-750, and that sounds inherently difficult. But you never know; it could lead to some hilarious moments, especially if you're playing in co-op with friends. But I'm very, very interested to see where they actually took that shot. The developers then go on to say that those without the Season Pass will also experience new content in the form of new missions on existing maps and the introduction of additional modding tools on PC that cover both the creation of maps and interior customization items. Now, we've already seen the map editor because that's actually been released with the public test server, but now it seems as though it will be integrated into the main game. And it also says if you don't have the season pass, play with someone who does, because through co-op, you'll be able to experience the season pass content with a friend who has it. So you only need to buy the season pass if you want to play the season pass content by yourself. So if one of your friends or multiple of your friends has it, then you can actually play on those maps and play with those vehicles in a co-op session with your friends. They've also said more details about the upcoming content updates will be shared when next week's update arrives. So there will be a lot more stuff that they'll go into depth on in next week's update, which I'll be sure to cover as well. But since we're about halfway through, let's go ahead and actually kind of hear from you guys in the comments, because I would love to know where y'all's kind of heads are at as far as the general environment around the season pass and the updates and phase 1 and everything like that. I want to hear how you guys are feeling about the progression of the game as it sits right now. Now, I will say that personally, I am very excited for console players to finally get their hands on this Phase 1 content, because as a PC player and especially as a public test server player, we've been playing around with this stuff for a few weeks now, and I honestly, a couple of weeks now, and I've really grown to enjoy it. I've really grown to enjoy this map. I've really grown to enjoy the vehicles, and as underpowered as the F750 is, I still think it's an enjoyable truck. Do I think there are some frustrating elements to it? Of course I do, but I think there are going to be frustrating elements to every truck. And, I mean, for example, the TUZ16 Action, the frustrating part about it is its fuel consumption. I mean, the fuel consumption of that thing is overboard with the really, when you put the top engine in it, oh my god, the fuel consumption of that thing is almost ANK levels of frustration, but it's still very fun to drive, and I would argue it's actually more fun to drive than the F750. However, the F750 is probably going to be the one that's going to ultimately end up being the workhorse in the long run, because if driven properly, it can actually be really effective and really useful. And if you have a lot of patience, you have to have a lot of patience to make the F750 work. If you don't have patience, this truck will never work for you. And I know that from personal experience. And those of you guys that watch my streams know that I have a tendency to sometimes get a little impatient with the F750, and that results in me getting stuck or rolling it over or trying to take a shortcut and burying it in the snow. It's one of those trucks that, again, you have to have that element of patience, otherwise it ain't gonna work out for you, bud. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that right now. If you don't have patience, this truck ain't gonna work for you. Again, I also want to say, too, that I find it very interesting that they've chosen to release Phase 1 and MudRunner Mobile on the same day. I think that's a little bit weird, because all of your SnowRunner people are going to be jumping onto this new content update, and MudRunner Mobile is gonna be hanging out over on the App Store in the background. It just kind of seems a little weird that you would overlap like that, because, I mean, release date overlap is a very funny thing, and you gotta wonder in your head, what is the objective behind overlapping those two release dates? I would love to hear y'all's opinions in the comments, because I, for one, can't really figure out a logical reason why they would overlap those release dates. I just can't, and I don't see where that falls in the grand scheme of, logical decision-making in the, in the realm of making these things coexist together. And there's gonna be some people out there that are probably gonna say, well, why do they have to make them coexist? Because MudRunner Mobile is, stupid, and nobody's gonna play it because it's mobile. But at the same time, I'm actually kind of excited about it, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, because, if I'm out, sitting in an airport or something, and I want to just, open up my phone and mess around on my phone, MudRunner Mobile is gonna be great for that. And let's remember that MudRunner Mobile was never made to be a a competitor to like the main MudRunner or SnowRunner or anything like that. It was never made to be a primary game. It was made to be a secondary companion. And when you think about it in the realm of, oh, I'm out somewhere, I'm waiting for something, I'm gonna pop my phone out and play a little bit of MudRunner Mobile, it makes complete and total sense, because at that point you're sort of dealing with something that's a lot less, you know, a lot less, I wouldn't say stressful, but like a lot less involved. And you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like, you know, pull my phone out and play around with some trucks off-road. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date, and I'll see y'all next time.